After more than 12 hours of being on life support and ICU, much to everyone's surprise, I woke up. Depressed is not even a strong enough word to describe where I was. It was so dark and low, and I questioned, why was I alive? The doctor said that I made it to the hospital within 15 to 20 minutes of losing my life. Any later and I would have been dead. And I knew that God saved my life at that point, but I didn't know why, and I was so angry. I spent all day crying and praying and asking God why. I became very intentional about following Christ. Everything I read, watched, listened to, spent time doing was about God. I regularly attended church, went to counseling, attended a divorce care class, attended a class called Making Peace with Your Past that was led by Stephanie Beams. And to Stephanie, I appeared to be someone who was someone that was still trying to control the situation. And so she had asked me if I was saved, and I had told her if I accepted Christ, and I told her yes. And she said that she had asked me if I had truly surrendered to Him and given Him control. And I told her, yeah. Well, I think so, maybe, I don't know. And she told me that she didn't think that I had, and would I like to pray about that? And I said, of course. So Stephanie and I prayed, and that is when I recommitted my salvation and fully surrendered my life to God. Now, when I left the office, I didn't have birds chirping in the air and the dark cloud wasn't lifted, but I did feel a change, and something was definitely different. I still struggled though, and everyone thought I was fine and wanted me to get over it. But I was not fine, and I was not over it. I was completely alone, and I was so angry with God. I prayed and I cried out to Him, and I asked Him to take my life. And I just really had to trust that He had a plan for me. I see now I was slowly getting better, but it was still so hard. In May, we got divorced, and when we went to the courthouse, that day was way different than it was in February. This time, I did not have medication, and I was alone. I could feel God healing me, and I knew that He was with me, and He was making changes in my life. And I felt God calling me to be baptized. So May 20th, I was. I went back to work in June, and that's when I realized that I was not in complete darkness anymore. My relationship with God grew and grew. I began serving at church. I became a mentor for True to Life Ministries. I led and hosted a small group, and I was reading the Bible, and this thing is awesome. I didn't understand why I never read it before, and I don't even like to read. So I highly recommend that. I decided to run half a marathon on February 10th, which was just a year after I was in the lowest, darkest place of my life. And one of my new best friends decided to throw a party to celebrate my new life in Christ, and also for completing my first half. And out of all the people that were there, only 3 of them had been in my life a year prior. And it was just so overwhelming and such a blessing to see God brought all these new people into my life that were godly and positive and amazing people. This life is more than I could have ever imagined, and more than anything I could have ever hoped for.